And we're good with you too.
Perfect. So, welcome everyone. Like every week, we're gonna present the new changes about Windmill, and we'll also give you the opportunity to chat with the team. So I think this week is gonna be a relatively short week in terms of content that we have to show, but I think there are like some really cool concepts that we'll start to present about data tables and about a major performance improvement that we'll do for certain use cases, like for loops that Hugo will present. So we'll just wait a few minutes, and then as soon as more people have time to join, and we'll start the full thing. So just 30 seconds more to give time for everyone to join. And yeah, in the meantime, you can see the almost full team ready to present. Have we shared the YouTube link yet?
I can share it on Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it will be easier. Yeah, I think we can start. So on my end, most of the week has been spent on a small thing, but around security. So we had reports, and it's been a while that we had the reports that basically there's a security vulnerability in public apps if you use a multi-tenant cloud, which is that someone malicious could basically put arbitrary code that would try to steal your credentials and then send them through some ways. And the problem is that basically it can do that as yourself, sending using the APIs of Windmill. So the way to fix this is to actually have a separate subdomain for public apps, which avoid basically the possibility that on those public apps you can hit the app.windmill.dev, which we have done. It took a lot of time, and it only matters for the multi-tenant instance, because that's the only place where there can be malicious actors. And but yeah, we did it. I thought it was very important, and we didn't want to compromise the trust people put in Windmill. So starting next week, all the links that start with app.windmill.dev public or that correspond to public apps are going to be moved to public.windmill.dev automatically, but you don't need to change anything because it will be a strict redirection. And yeah, we treat all of security concerns like this with urgency. So maybe Diego, you want to talk about data tables?
Yeah, sure. It's very in progress. It's not ready yet, but I'm working on data tables. So the concept is you can declare a data table in your workspace settings, a bit like Doc Lakes. So you can declare one data table for your workspace, or like secondary ones. For example, let's call it main, and you can reference it in your your TypeScript scripts. And directly query your SQL database. So it's pretty cool because you don't have to share the credentials anymore. You can just do something like, let me share my screen. There it is. You can just do something like that, and you never share the credentials or use a secondary data tables. And yeah, it's weird, it doesn't work yet, but you'll be able to do queries like that. And yeah, you can add data tables like that. So you can add external ones or use directly the Windmill database. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I'm doing. The other thing I've done is the filter by trigger kind. So now you can filter your runs by what started them. So you can check, like, for example, well, turns out there is none here, but like it works if you have like schedules. You can filter by schedules, for example, or any trigger kind. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Henry, do you want to go?
Yeah, just maybe for context, for data tables, they're gonna be very complementary to also Data Studio. So we have the possibility to explore a current database and use a REPL. The fact that you will now be able to interact with it within a script using this, and within the Data Studio will make it very useful. The other thing is it will be a good replacement for anyone that use get resource or set resource to store state or to implement some kind of memory, because now you can use a full power of SQL to as relational databases. So you can add types, you can make complex queries, you can add complex filters. It will be a lot more powerful, but it will keep the convenience of basically being one SDK call away. And also because it's straight Postgres or straight will support any other database, but it will be straight SQL. There's no limit in what you can do, and there's nothing to understand that is specific to Windmill. It's just straight SQL. And yeah, I think one of the V2 later that we'll not talk about today is how we handle permissions, but that is something that we can leave for a later date. Yeah, so maybe Hugo, you wanted to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hugo, can you stop sharing me? Thanks. So let me share my screen. All right. So I talked briefly about it last week, but basically I worked on optimization for flows. Here's an example flow where you have like a loop with a bunch of iterations, so about 100, and you just have like one step in this case, but you can have a bunch more. And basically, it's what happens right now is that your burn runtime will like start every time, so you will get the cold start times 100. So it adds a lot of delay to your jobs. So we can see here that it took about 9.3 seconds. But so what I've did is I've added this new option to for loops, which is called squash. And what squash does is basically make the whole for loop run on the same worker, and will also leverage dedicated worker. And so what it does is at the beginning of the for loop, it will see what scripts support dedicated workers. So it's Bun scripts, Dino scripts, and Python scripts, and it will start the runtime at the beginning. So you have the cold start, but just at the beginning of your for loop. And then while we iterate, it will just send the payloads to the running Bun runtime, which will make it super fast. So I've enabled the option, I've deployed it, and now if I run it, it should be much faster.
Not sure if you're sharing your
Yeah, I
screen,
think
but
you're-
at least I can't see it.
Oh,
Yeah, I can
sorry.
hear you.
I think it.
But
I
you
don't know
could
why.
at the beginning.
Yeah. Can you see it now? I guess
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
I don't know what you saw, so let me just show. So there's this new option here in the for loop settings, which squashes the for loop, and then that's it. You can just deploy it, and then let's run it again. So this time, instead of taking 9 seconds, it only take 3.5 seconds. So it's much faster, and this is all thanks to this optimization. Right now, so in this example, I just have like one step in my for loop, but we could have like a bunch of steps. It could also be non-optimized steps, so it's not that useful to squash those. But if you have like some Python scripts and then some SQL queries, etc., it will still use the optimization for the steps it can. Right now, we only do it for for loops and while loops, but we might also expand it to the whole flow or maybe other cases, but we're not sure yet. But yeah, that's about it for me. I don't know if anyone else has to show anything.
I can go next. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is something experimental I'm working on. The idea for me is to keep improving the onboarding for new users. And the idea is to allow them to experiment as fast as they can the whole Windmill UI. So just to give you a quick example, here you can directly access a list of scripts flow or apps that you can execute without having to create or enter any workspace. So this is the ID. So I give you an example. Let's say I want to test a script that fetch data from the API. So here I just select the newspaper I want, and I can test. And this way I can experiment by myself different tabs of the UI and try to understand how it works before going into the deeper process of creating a workspace, joining a workspace. And there is the same for like flows as well to experiment, but you know how it works. And yeah, trying also to give some resources for new users like guides or core concepts. But yeah, the idea is to really allow the users to directly see the value of Windmill with a very simple ready-made scripts, flows or apps. This is for me. Does someone want to go next?
Cool. I can maybe briefly talk about what I was working this week. As Ruben mentioned, security is super important to a platform like Windmill, and we do support worker isolation or job isolations that are run by workers via NSJail, which basically encapsulates every job in its own like sandbox. On top of that, this week I added a new way to enable job isolation using basically user namespaces. So every job can be encapsulated in its own namespace, which prevents it from accessing the Windmill workers process memory and environment variables, etc. So this adds another way of creating isolation of jobs, and basically will recommend to have this set up for all production settings to increase security, to either add NSJail or user namespace isolation to your workers. So this will hopefully be merged today, or probably latest on Monday,
And
as
just
we've done
Just
all
for
the
context,
changes.
it only matters if you believe you could have malicious attackers within your organization. So for most open source users are not going to care. For our enterprise customers, that's more important because you could always have a rogue agent or rogue developers, which is with disgruntled and want to do bad things. And we want to make that impossible as well. And it's not trivial to do, but right now it's possible. And because you have root access to the node, and this is a good way to do isolation. As a reminder, NSJL, which is full sandboxing, is still going to be enterprise. But what Alex has been working on is to make a lighter isolation using Unshare. So that would be available to all, even for the community edition.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And unless Henry, you want to present something this week?
No, not really.
Cool.
It's okay.
Right, then yeah, we're still hiring. If maybe some people want to ask questions here or on YouTube. Otherwise, we'll just wish you a very great weekend. It looks to be pretty empty. So, cool. Then I guess that's a wrap, and see you next week.
See you very
Bye-bye.
well.
See you, bye-bye.